Call of Duty Zombies wouldn't be the same without its iconic perks. And over the years, we have had dozens of perks come and go in the game mode. Well, in this video, we're going to be going down memory lane looking at the 10 most pointless perks in Call of Duty Zombies history. And on top of that, Omen and Nvidia have been very kind in sponsoring today's video, so we'll hear from them in a little bit. There's a lot of history to get through, so buckle up, like the video if you've used any of these perks, and let me know your thoughts below. But in no particular order, our first perk here on the list is Blood Wolf Bite from Black Ops 4. This perk wasn't introduced into the game until DLC 3 Alpha Omega, and you'll see a common theme here throughout this video when it comes to new perks in Black Ops 4. But this sounds like a great perk on paper, but it's just not worth choosing when you only have 4 perk slots. So once bought, should the player manage to inflict a decent amount of damage within a small time frame, a friendly wolf called Luna spawns, which will follow you around and attack any nearby enemies. And Luna stays for about 45 seconds before despawning, and then you have to wait a total of 5 minutes before Luna can be spawned in again. Now, in certain situations, Luna can spawn and save your life. There's no doubt about that. But it's very hard to work out exactly what the requirements are to inflict the amount of damage you need in order to spawn it in, and many times out of 10, Luna will spawn during specific moments where you otherwise wouldn't want Luna to spawn. So particularly at the end of rounds, if you're trying to save a zombie and Luna appears, oh, you are not saving a zombie at the end of the round. That zombie be gone. Now, Black Ops 4 did also introduce a new system where the 4th perk would become a modifier perk that would gain some extra abilities. And with Luna, this had the chance of dropping 3 types of power-ups. One that gave the player 10 points, one that added a slight amount of charge to the special weapon, and one that gave you an extra magazine for all your weapons. Now, we can all appreciate what Treyarch tried to do with the perk system in Black Ops 4, removing some crutch perks, but introducing other perks that were super powerful and made them crutches meant that perks like this just had no point whatsoever. And this follows on with the second perk on our list, which is Stone Cold Stronghold, which is again introduced in Black Ops 4. When purchased, it will allow you to create a blue circle on the ground by standing in place for a few moments, and whilst you're within the circle, you'll receive a damage boost against enemies and slowly gain armor over time. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. There are some situations where this perk genuinely does come in useful, such as if you're trying to get to round 150 on classified, camping by the buildable bench for the shield and doing the shield strat. But if you look at how people play zombies nowadays, where everyone's running trains, they're using different spots around the map, no one's really camping anymore like you would see on the Doris catwalk. That's a situation where I think this perk could come in quite useful, but when you're running around, you're never really ever going to be stopping and staying in a corner, so I just don't see the point of this perk whatsoever. But when it's modified, it does grant the player increased damage boosts and armor whenever enemies are killed within the circle, so there is a tiny bit of use case utility, but especially in Black Ops 4, there's just so many other perks you'd run and would have in the modifier instead. Next on our list is Blaze Phase, which again was in Black Ops 4 and was introduced with Tag der Toten. Now, when this perk is active, if you crouch, the area around you will glow orange with the sound of steam boiling, and then uncrouching sends you hurtling forwards at extreme speeds, knocking and killing down zombies in your path. After this effect, the perk will be in a cooldown and cannot be reactivated until it's fully charged. Now, I've got to be honest, there's a lot of perks in zombies. There's a lot of semi-useful Black Ops 4 perks, but I don't think there is ever a use case for this perk to ever be useful. If you're given 4 perk slots, there is no way this perk is ever going to be one of those 4. It just seems like such a gimmick perk that there is just no point to its actual existence beyond there being a bit of fun attached to it. When you really think about it, the shield from Shadows of Evil, you get 3 shield boost charges that work exactly the same as Blaze Phase, and you don't need to buy a perk to do that. This honestly might go down, in my personal opinion, as the most useless perk ever. Since we're not doing a top 10 here, this is just 10 pointless perks. We're not ranking this, but if I had to, this probably would be one of the worst perks ever. The next up on the list here is Shock Horror, another Black Ops 4 perk, and this is Death Perception. Now, unless you're brand new to zombies, this perk is absolutely unnecessary. So when bought, it gives the player an orange outline of nearby enemies through walls, similar to using a thermal optic. So you basically get a little bit of wall hacks, and any nearby enemy enemies that are off the screen are highlighted by small white directional arrows on your HUD, which shows the location of the zombies relative to you. And like I said, unless you're absolutely brand new to zombies, simply using your awareness and your audio should be more than enough to work out where the zombies are. Now, when this is used as a modifier, it applies bonus damage to special enemy weak points. Now, it's really funny on when I'm making this video because it's just been announced that this perk is going to be in Black Ops Cold War. It might already be in the game by the time you're watching this video. Now, there are some significant tier upgrades to depth perception in Black Ops Cold War. It's questionable if those are going to be any good or not, but in its Black Ops 4 form, it is undoubtedly pointless, and I think the whole community would agree. And just before we move on to our 5th perk, here's a quick message from today's sponsor, Omen and Nvidia. This video is sponsored by the wonderful guys at Omen and Nvidia with the Omen 15 30 series gaming laptop. This thing is an absolute powerhouse and is an absolute beauty at the same time. This laptop has some serious power with the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 graphics card and the latest Ryzen 7 5000 series CPU, delivering buttery smooth performance that you'll be able to enjoy on the 165Hz QHD anti-glare panel, which is absolutely insane to have that high of a refresh rate on a laptop as compact as this. And if like me you love RGB, then you've got a 4-zone RGB keyboard, which can all be controlled through the Omen Gaming Hub. Now, we've got to talk about how awesome the graphics card is in this system. Being a 30 series graphics card, we can take full advantage of some amazing tech such as DLSS. This will boost your in-game frame rate using the power of AI, delivering more frames of equal to or better than native image quality. You can see here in this example on Warzone where the frame rate is nearly double, allowing you to get as many frames as possible. And we can also take advantage of real-time ray tracing, which simulates how light behaves, improving the graphics on your game and the immersion. We're already seeing ray tracing a lot in current games, but this will be the future of gaming, and you can take advantage of this feature right now by just enabling it in the game settings. And this is all possible in such a tiny laptop thanks to Max-Q, a system-wide approach where every aspect of the laptop, including the thermals, have been optimized for power and performance. And the 3rd gen Max-Q tech uses AI and new system optimizations to make high-performance gaming laptops faster and better than ever. If you're looking for an affordable gaming laptop with amazing performance, look no further than the Omen 30 series gaming laptops. Click the link in the description if you want to check it out. Now, this next perk is probably going to surprise some people, but we're going to be going for Tombstone Soda in Black Ops Cold War. Now, when this perk was first announced to return in Cold War, I think the whole community was incredibly excited. And for good reason. It's been nearly 9 years since this perk was last in Call of Duty Zombies, and its return in Cold War upgrades it to have some similar effects to the Who's Who perk from Black Ops 2. I'm including it on this list because out of every perk that there is in Cold War Zombies, this is probably down there as the most pointless to use. You have all the systems in Cold War that allow the game to be a lot easier than previous games. You have self-revives that you can build. There's just no real need to ever have this perk. And what really annoys me about the Cold War version is that unlike the Black Ops 2 version, once you die out and go back to your tombstone, you actually have to pay to get your tombstone back. Now, you do respawn with the amount of points needed to buy this, but nevertheless, in Black Ops 2, you didn't have to pay to retrieve your items from the tombstone drop. You just went up to it and got it back. And in some cases, you're better off not even bothering to go and buy your tombstone and just use the points you spawned in with to buy everything back. Now, since there is no perk limit in Cold War, there's no real reason not to get tombstone at some point during a run. It's definitely not worth prioritizing by any means, and I'm sure most of you guys watching this video probably don't even use the main effects of tombstone. I barely ever use the Who's Who mechanic to revive myself. I again just get someone to revive me, or I just use a self-revive token. The next perk on our list is going to be Bandolier Bandit from Black Ops 4. Now, at the time, the idea of having a perk introduced that was to do with ammo was exciting because there's always been rumors of a ammo-related perk since the days of World at War. But again, out of all the 4 perks you'd prioritize in Black Ops 4, Bandolier Bandit is not one of them. So when purchased, it would grant you increased ammo stock for all of your weapons. And that's literally it. A little bit more ammo, and when it's used as a modifier, the weapon that currently isn't being held by the player will be able to refill its magazine from its reserve ammo over time. And we literally got that with Mule Kick in Cold War. If you think about the systems in Cold War where we have so many different ammo drops, you can buy ammo, there is no need for this perk to exist. It was really pointless in Black Ops 4 and it'd be really pointless in any future title. Now we're going a bit left field with this next choice, and this is a perk from Infinite Warfare Zombies called Change Choose that's available on the map Attack of the Radioactive Thing. Now I feel for the most part IW actually had a pretty good variety of good useful perks, but this one I just don't think really done it for me. And with this perk, it gives you one of 4 different abilities, which includes fire damage, electricity damage, ice damage, and explosive damage. And this is activated by achieving headshots. Now, to me, this seems like it was Infinity Ward's idea of trying to get alternate ammo types from Pack-a-Punches on Treyarch zombies into IW through a perk. But I just don't think it's as effective, especially again, because it's going to be taking up one of those perk slots. I just don't feel like it's a perk you'd actually pick up when there's all these other crutch choices. It's easily the weakest perk in Infinite Warfare Zombies by far. There's potentially 1 or 2 other perks from Infinite Warfare that was going to make this list, but I feel this definitely is at the bottom of the list here as a pointless perk. The next perk we'll be looking at is Zomshell, which, shock horror, was first featured in Black Ops 4. This released with Ancient Evil, and when purchased, allows a player to have a chance to create a small contamination field when killing normal zombies. This is in the form of a small electrical orb, which lasts for about 5 to 10 seconds, and any zombie that comes into contact is slowed down and damage they receive will be increased. Now, this honestly, the effect from this perk could just be an alternate ammo type in my opinion. I can appreciate what Treyarch were trying to do with this perk, but again, I just feel like with Black Ops 4, it's a bit of a two-way street. We wanted loads of new perks, and that's exactly what we got, but they just weren't very useful. And this is just another one of those perks. Coming in as our second last pointless perk in this video is going to be from Exo Zombies, and this is Exo Stockpile, which is kind of similar to Bandolier Bandit and is a variation on the original cut perk from World at War called Candelier. This increases the amount of ammo you can hold in your weapon by 20% and the amount of lethal grenades and tactical grenades that you can carry by 1 for each type. It's exactly the same scenario as Bandolier Bandit. In the likely case of Exo Zombies, where you only have 4 perks, this is definitely not going to take up one of your slots because there just isn't much point to it. Now, just before we get to our final perk, there is an honorable mention I'm going to put in this video, and that is going to be Slappy Taffy from Infinite Warfare Zombies. Now, I mentioned about Change Choose and that there's a few other perks in Infinite Warfare that seemed a little pointless. Slappy Taffy is potentially one of them, but I'm going to give it a pass here on this occasion, and that's why it's going to be an honorable mention. Now, Slappy Taffy increases your melee damage, and it's essentially like as if you've got the Bowie knife, but you got it in a perk form. And it doesn't make sense that they would replace the idea of that with a perk taking up one of your slots. But to give credit where credit is due, it also grants the melee attacks that you do to zombies to have a stun ability, a bit similar to the Galva Knuckles, but without the arcing electricity effects. Coming in at our final pointless perk in Call of Duty Zombies history is going to be Exo Soldier from Exo Zombies. Now, when you get Exo Soldier, it allows you to fire and reload while running and also increase your hip fire accuracy. And it also allows you to swap your weapons faster. Now, I'm sorry, but when would there ever be a need to have this as one of your 4 perk slots? It's always nice to be able to fire and reload whilst running. Essentially, you're being given the perk Gun Ho from multiplayer and increasing your hip fire accuracy, but when are you ever going to need that as one of the crucial 4 perk slots in your game of zombies? It's just crazy. Most of the effects of Exo Soldier we've seen introduced in tier upgrades for perks in Cold War, which is fantastic, but a perk on its own like this, it's just absolutely pointless. Let me know what you think of the perks we've spoken about in this video. If you feel there's any pointless perks that I've missed, I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comment section, or if you disagree with this list and you have a completely different set of perks that you think I should have mentioned. If you enjoyed this and you want to see similar videos like this on other topics in zombies, perhaps stuff that is also pointless or forgotten, let me know. Really enjoyed making this video and hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, a like would be super appreciated to get it out in the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more zombies and I'll catch you very soon.